Yes, sir.
Who's going to read out first? Okay. कौन पढ़ेगा पहले? Asharullah है. You're there?
My story is on screen.
Asharullah?
No, no, sir. Prakhar.
Huh?
Prakhar, sir. The third story.
Prakhar, na? Acha, Prakhar Agnihotri. Okay, I'll just open my this thing. Prakhar, okay. Sonam, Prakhar Agnihotri. हाँ बोलो, शुरू करो. A social media influencer who's missing after his last visit crosses 1 million. Okay, chalo.
So this is the story that I submitted yesterday.
Yeah, पंखा चला. Okay.
Yes, sir. I'd actually kill myself if my next video crosses 1 million views. Azad told one of his followers, who had also become a good friend over time. Azad was venting out to this friend/follower about the slow growth of his channel. Even after consistently putting out videos for the past 6 months, his followers had only grown marginally, and none of his videos had crossed more than 1K views. The engagement was down low, and some of the comments he got were downright demeaning. For instance, for his last video essay, Azad decided to put out a comparison of 8.5 by Fellini and Nayak by Ray. After intricately studying the films, Azad opined that both the films had a lot in common, beginning with an intellectually struggling artist for a protagonist, the use of nightmarish surreal dreams to convey their past and their wishes, and the use of women to bring out the existential qualities of these men. Both the films were shot beautifully, but that's given being the films of Ray and Fellini. Azad ended the video requesting everyone to visit these films and continue the discussion in the comments. But when he did check out the comments, the user named Akku Forever had solemnly added, "Chal na, apne baap ko mat sikha." Another comment read, "Boss, itna free time nahi hai." The other 3 comments weren't disrespectful. Azad couldn't take anymore. He had given this channel his heart, but had only received hurt in return. He too wanted fame and wanted to monetize his videos and earn a bang. My latest video will be a 20-second short review of Brahmastra, Azad told his follower/friend. Though Azad wasn't happy with this move, it did feel necessary to him. The masses needed to be catered. Doing it made him feel heavy-hearted. He felt he was cheating cinema itself. But deep, somewhere down, he believed that this short wouldn't work either, and he would go back to making his video essays. He was almost hoping for the video to not work, but it did. It crossed multiple million views. It also got Azad hordes of new followers, and now the people in the comments weren't roasting him either, since they were more abusive about the films. Azad did mind this newfound following and fame. He decided to put the video essays on hold and continue with the short reviews. The follower/friend tried reaching out to him, reminding Azad of his original niche, but to no avail. Azad had stopped replying to him. Finding the original content, true cinema, and real Azad missing, the friend/follower unfollowed him.
How come he disappears? The prompt is that he disappears, right? He should disappear. But यहाँ पे the friend disappears by unfollowing him.
Sir, what I've done is कि जो social media influencer है Azad, उसको missing की जगह मैंने उसका जो real content था, वो जो उसका real Azad था, वो missing बताया है उसके नए videos में.
अच्छा, okay, that will be. अच्छा, देखो यहाँ पे क्या है, the criteria जो था parameters की, ऐसा एक कहानी लिखो जो 20 मिनट का एक फिल्म बन सकता है ना? ओके, ये मैं पहले भी बता चुका हूँ, फिर से मैं बता रहा हूँ कि देखो तुम जब फिल्म के लिए लिखते हो ना, then it has to, the action, it is the action which matters. I was telling you, all of you yesterday, कि तुम्हारा जो कहानी है वहाँ पे मुझे बहुत सारे information कहा, as a story it is good. If I forget film, if I forget a 20-minute film or even a feature film, okay, if I forget the medium of the film, it works as a story. It's a good story, okay? But it does not work as a film story. Film story के लिए जो तुम्हें चाहिए, first of all, as I've told you again and again, कि तुम्हारा you have to reduce the time span. Okay, तुम्हारा कहानी जो है it's happening over a longer period of time. Okay, and a lot of things are happening. A lot of things are happening. First of all, which you actually cannot show on screen. He did an analysis, a comparative analysis of Satyajit Ray film and Felony film, both dealing with filmmakers. Okay, how would you show that? Okay, this kind of a comparative analysis on screen, because it becomes extremely boring if the audience has to read the comparative analysis on screen. Okay, it's not very cinematic. It's not cinematic at all. Okay, so I am getting a lot of information. I am understanding the state of mind of the character. Okay, who's pissed off by the meager lack of response, but when he does a chota sa review of Brahmastra, and immediately there are huge responses. Okay, तो ये जो है ये मतलब सिनेमैटिकली दिखाना बहुत ही मुश्किल. Okay, it works more as a short story than as a film story. Film story mein there has to be some kind of an immediacy. Okay, there has to be some kind of a element which I can feel, which I can see, which I can touch, which has to be palpable. Palpable is the word. Okay, it has to be action oriented. Action मतलब कुछ हो रहा है जो मुझे दिखाई दे रहा है. Okay, जो आंखों के सामने दिखाई दे रहा है. तुमने जो कहानी लिखा वो आंखों के सामने मुझे दिखाई नहीं दे रहा है. मुझे समझ में आ रहा है, मुझे इंफॉर्मेशन मिल रहा है, मुझे सब कुछ समझ में आ रहा है, लेकिन आंखों के सामने नहीं दिखाई दे रहा है. It's not visual. You're writing this particular story. Okay, it's not a visual story. Okay, so that is the main problem with your story. And plus, this is something, even if wants to adapt, it will not fit into a 20-minute format. It will be a much larger format. It will be like 50 minutes or 45 minutes, 55 minutes kind of a film. So your story lacks the visual quality needed for a film story. Am I clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. Abhi kaun?
Sir, I can read mine. I think mine is on the 9th story.
Okay, just a moment.
Yes, sir.
9th story. Adrija Kundu?
Yes, sir.
Okay, chalo, paro.
Rishabh, a 31-year-old man wearing a light blue bush shirt and formal pants, stands outside Sharma's tea stall with his colleagues on their smoke break while discussing pointers for their next meeting. Rishabh is just about to light his cigarette when his phone rings. A blue light flashes in his pocket where his phone is kept. He takes out the phone from his pocket and sees his wife is calling. A bead of sweat appears on his forehead. He frowns and excuses himself. For a moment, he hesitates to pick up the phone, hurriedly stubs a newly lit cigarette, and answers the phone.
One second. यहाँ पे देखो प्रखर, are you there? Prakhar?
Yes.
Did you hear what she read out? First paragraph. Okay, the way she has written, I can see the scene happening in front of my eyes. It's very visual. It's very concrete. It's very palpable. This is what is desired. ठीक है ना? ध्यान से सुनो. मतलब just because you're done with your reading doesn't mean you don't listen to others. Okay? Chalo. He receives a telephone call. He was standing in front of this tea stall. Okay, with his colleagues for a small smoke break, and while then he takes out the phone from his pocket and sees his wife is calling. A bead of sweat, very important detail, appears on his forehead. He frowns and excuses himself. For a moment, he hesitates to pick up the phone, hurriedly stubs the newly lit cigarette and answers the phone. Okay, very, very visual. Okay, chalo, Paro, continue.
Hey, John, did you eat the chicken curry I packed for you? Inquires Surita, his wife. Rishabh pauses for a moment and replies impatiently. Yes, I have. You sound a bit off. Is it the next presentation you're worried about? Surita asks worriedly. Yes, a lot is riding on it, replies Rishabh, while making his way to his office cabin. Surita assures, if anyone can pull this off, it's you. Both stay silent for a moment. Rishabh sits down and goes through some papers. Surita says softly, I know going cold turkey at this time isn't helping much, but please remember it's for our baby, for you, for us. Rishabh stammers a bit. Yes, I remember. Babe, I have to go now, okay? I'll see you in the evening. Love you. Love you too. Rishabh abruptly hangs up before Sarita could finish. Rishabh, holding a pen on his right hand, tries to write something and is unable to. Stretches out on the paper in frustration and massages his temple with the other hand, breathing heavily. Several beads of sweat appears on his forehead now. He switches on the standing fan right by his table. His hand goes towards his pocket. He takes out the gold flake box, flicks open the cover and takes out a cigarette. He puts it in his mouth and is just about to light it when the cabin door opens and the office boy in khaki shorts and worn-out white shirt walks in to place a glass of water on the table. Rishabh is breathing heavily. His heart is racing. His eyes fall on a quit smoking pamphlet kept on his table. The sound of the standing fan begins to grow louder in his mind. He takes out the cigarette from his mouth, crushes it in his hand, and throws it along with the lighter on the table, making a loud sound, startling the office boy, who is looking at Rishabh with a concerned face, eyebrows furrowed. Rishabh's heart is racing even faster. His shirt is getting drenched in sweat, despite a breeze blowing in the cabin through the side window, ruffling his hair and the loose sheets on the table. Bhaiya, aap theek ho kya? Asks the boy, his voice sounding faint. Rishabh gets up, puts his hand and breathlessly says, Chote, hurry and call the doctor. Rishabh closes his eyes and falls on the floor. His eyes open and close, and he sees blurry images of people towering over him. He opens his eyes slowly and finds himself in a nursing home bed. Vision clears. His wife and the doctor are looking at him, standing by the bed. His wife cups his hand as soon as he wakes up. Doctor cheerfully says, Mr. Rishabh, how are you feeling? Rishabh answers, a bit dazed. What happened? Doctor laughs and says, nothing to worry about. You just had a panic attack. I'm assuming it's been a stressful day, so take a moment, breathe. Mrs. Saxena just needs to complete some formalities and we can discharge you right away. Doctor exits. Surita squeezes Rishabh's hand, looks at him with furrowed brows and says, I was so worried when I got the call from the office. This is not okay. If you fall sick, what will happen to me? And she pauses. To us. Surita puts her hand on her belly. Rishabh looks at her softly and places his hand on top of her hand, squeezes it, takes it away, and cups Surita's hand with both his hands and kisses it softly. We'll be okay. Let's go somewhere this weekend, assures Rishabh. Surita smiles and nods. I'll complete the formalities and come. She kisses his forehead and exits the room. Rishabh leaves the room, makes his way down the stairs of the nursing home with hurried steps and goes out the gate. He finds a cigarette shop right outside. A gold flake dena, he asks the shopkeeper. The shopkeeper hands over one cigarette to him. He takes a lighter and lights the cigarette. He takes a long drag, breathes out, closes his eyes and smiles.
Okay, I think this is very good. Okay, you've shown him struggling with the smoke and he's not able to give up, and kind of even after he's had this problem, medical problem, some kind of a heart attack. What's this?
No, sir, it is a panic attack. It was induced. Basically, so when we are in a moment of stress, we feel the need to smoke. For a smoker especially.
Right.
So he was not able to handle the stress, and also the stress of going cold turkey on smoking was also affecting him.
Right.
He had tried to smoke before, but right then his wife had called, so he couldn't even.
So he's not being
he's kind of built up, sir. So
his struggle continues. His struggle continues.
Yes. Okay. It was a mental thing, sir, not physical.
Okay, so I think this is very good. And Prakhar and everybody else, okay. So this is what is desired in a film story, okay. Because when Adrija was reading out the story, we could see the visuals, we could see the action, see the characters engaged in whatever they were doing, whatever problems they were having or facing. Okay, it's very, very visual. So this is what is desired, and I think this can make a perfect 20-minute film also. Okay, so. So please keep this in mind. Whenever you're writing for a film, you're writing a film story, again, it has to be visual. It has to have that visual clarity. ठीक है, चलो then move ahead. Good, yeah, Adrija, it's very good. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
अभी कौन है? Who's going to read?
Should I go, sir?
एकाग्रा. Okay, just a moment. एकाग्रा. तुम्हारा कितना नंबर है बोलो तो, because I'm consulting a separate document. Is it? अभी रोनी ऊपर की तरफ है क्या? नीचे की तरफ. हाँ, एकाग्रा सिंगल. Okay. A social media influencer, is that the one? Yeah, Ekagra. Hello, can you hear me?
Hello, sir. Sorry,
Yeah.
I was on mute. I didn't realize.
Acha. Okay, Ekagra, is it a social media influencer? ये वाला है
Yeah,
ना?
this
हाँ?
is the one. Yes, sir.
Okay, हाँ, चलो पढ़ो.
Okay. The phone makes a ting sound. A notification pops up while the screen is still locked. It says the last reel she posted has crossed 1 million views. She picks up the phone and finds this out. Her eyes brighten up. She has started swinging while humming her favorite track, the track in the viral reel. She calls up a friend Neetu. Oh, sunna, finally 1 million views on a reel of mine. I'm so excited. Arey, congrats, love. So, ab kya plan hai? What do you mean? Now that you have hit the 1 million mark, you'll also have to keep up with it, no? Right. Chal अच्छा मिलते हैं कल. अभी मैं रखती हूँ. Chal, see ya. Mua. She disengages the phone and is tensely looking at the building visible through her window. Her hand gripping the phone tighter with every passing moment. She is now looking even more intensely as her eyebrows sink in the middle, forming a tightened bow. She pats her palm with the phone's back and has a serious thinking look on her face. She is packing her bag and is thinking of a place to go to, where she can make an even better reel.
एक सेकंड, यहाँ पे एक सेकंड. देखो, यहाँ तक whatever you read out, I could see the visual. She's now looking even more intensely as her eyebrows sink in at the middle, forming a tightened bow. She pats her palm with the phone's back and has a serious thinking look on her face. So यहाँ तक whatever you read, I could see. But the next paragraph, she's packing a bag. I can see that. And is thinking of a place to go where she can make an even better read. Okay, yeah, this is something which is happening inside her head. And as I've been telling you for the last couple of sessions, we try to avoid writing about what's happening inside a character's head, because in film we have no way of it has to be externalized to the action.
Yes, sir.
Okay, na? So, chalo paro, better than the last one. She decides to leave immediately. So,
okay. Better than the last one, she decides to leave immediately, right in the middle of the night. She picks up the phone again, opens WhatsApp, searches for Neetu's number and starts typing. Yaar, kal ka plan cancel hai abhi ke liye. Just got an interesting idea for my next reel. Leaving right now. Wapas aake milti hu. Love you. Now she goes back to the home screen and taps on the Uber icon, types railway station and presses OK. The cab is to arrive in about 5 minutes. She hurriedly packs the remaining things and leaves her house. The cab with the designated number plate is waiting at the building gate. She pulls open the door and gets in excitedly. OTP is 3693. Okay, madam. The cab driver looks at her as he turns his head back while also giving a downward glance at her mini skirt. Madam, आपको कहीं देखा है? He says as he looks at the road while driving the car. हाँ भैया, मैं social media star हूँ. अरे वाह. And he keeps driving, saying nothing more. The next day, Neetu's phone rings. She picks up the call to find it's Malvika's father. Beta, where is Malvika? उससे बात कराना. Uncle, she तो left for some place yesterday night. She's not with me. उसने तो बोला था कि वो तुम्हारे घर जा रही है. What? No way. She messaged me this. Wait, I'll forward it to you on WhatsApp. Malvika's father, a prominent bureaucrat in the state government, gets a little confused.
Again, यहाँ पे देखो. Malvika's father is a prominent bureaucrat in the state. How do we know this? Isn't it? This is just an information. We don't see it. Na?
Yeah, right.
So don't write anything that we don't see. Okay.
Chalo. Gets a little confused. Thinks for a while with his fingers greasing his forehead. Gets up from his chair and makes a call. हाँ तिवारी जी, हम बोल रहे हैं. जी सर. हमारी बेटी मिल नहीं रही है, पता लगाइए, अखबार वालों को भी खबर करिए, उसका एक वीडियो भी फेमस हुआ है. वो भी हम आपसे शेयर कर रहे हैं, उससे भी भेजिएगा, आसान हो जाएगा. Okay, sir. 3 days have passed and she is yet to be found. But meanwhile, her name has reached every nook and corner as the father made sure that people find out she's missing. There also has been a lot of publicity done in order to locate her. कोई सुन, अरे नहीं तू सुन ना, अब बाहर आ जाती हूँ, अब तो मेरा प्रोफाइल का 3x ग्रोथ हो गया है, that too in the last 4 days. अबे लेकिन बताएगी क्या अंकल को, वो जान ले लेंगे हमारी. अरे चल कर, बाप है मेरा, I know him, he loves me. Plus it went exactly as I had anticipated it would go. Although इतना heavy reach मिल जाएगा ये नहीं सोचा था.
Okay, देखो, this is a good story which is I mean which is perfect for a 20-minute film. It has a twist. Okay, it has some kind of a tension and anxiety. अरे गायब कहाँ पे हो गई? Because you've established the cab driver as some kind of a lech, the way he was looking at a miniskirt and all that. Okay, na? So when she suddenly disappears, when the father calls up this other girl, the friend, so the audience is also curious and audience is also kind of anticipating the worst. Okay, but then we come to know towards the end she had engineered her disappearance for this kind of ratings. Right? So it's a very interesting story. It can be done in a 20-minute format, and just that there's one particular paragraph towards the end which is a little problematic in terms of visuals. 3 days have passed and she's yet to be found, but meanwhile her name has reached every nook and corner as a father made sure that people find out she's missing. There also has been a lot of publicity done in order to locate her. ये जो paragraph है, ये थोड़ा सा, this is just information. Okay, ये also you have to visualize a little. Okay, people are looking at her photographs on the newspapers. People are checking her profile on the mobile phones. Okay, newspaper and television news is reporting the disappearance of this personality. So if you could have written like this, तो भी हमें एक visuals का अंदाजा मिल जाता.
Yes, sir.
समझ गए ना? बाकी बहुत ही visual है. We can see it's very palpable. There's a tension and it is good. And just try to cut down on dialogues. Nothing else. Though तुम्हारे ज़्यादा dialogues नहीं है. Yesterday there was a couple of students. They had written a lot of dialogues, which is not very desired. Okay.
Got it, sir.
So this is good. Yeah, it's very, I mean, visual. I can see the characters doing whatever they are doing. Okay. Chalo then. Yeah. Okay. अभी कौन पढ़ेगा?
अभिरानी सर.
अभिरानी, एक सेकंड, ओपन माय डॉक्यूमेंट.
नंबर
अभिरानी कितना नंबर है तुम्हारा? प्रखर अग्निहोत्री, प्रशांत सोलंकी. अभी social media influencer goes missing after last word that crosses 1 million views. Okay, चलो पढ़ो. Start. Hello. Hello, can't hear you.
स्नातक का छात्र है जिसके जीवन.
Hello. Just a moment. Abhinani, we can't hear you properly. Can you start reading again?
Yes,
Cut हो जा रहा है तो. बोलो. सुनाई नहीं दे रहा. Hello, can't hear you. Abhinani, you have muted yourself.
Hello, sir.
हाँ, अभिरानी, हाँ बोलो.
No, sir, I am Asharullah. Can I read?
ठीक है, तुम पढ़ो. We'll get back to अभिरानी later because yeah, just a moment. तुम्हारा एकदम first में है ना, एकदम ऊपर.
No, sir, that is the other half of my yesterday's story.
अच्छा, अभी कौन सा पढ़ोगे?
सर अभी जो मैंने लिखा है वो मेरे जीमेल में कुछ ग्लिच आ गया है, उसके वजह से वो मेल नहीं जा पाया, तो क्या मैं स्क्रीन शेयर करके पढ़ लूं?
हाँ करो, स्क्रीन शेयर करके पढ़ो, चलो।
ठीक है सर।
हम्म। हम्म।
Is it visible?
Is it missing report?
Yes, always.
अच्छा, okay, एक second.
My prop is a social media influencer
हाँ,
goes missing after his or her last post gets 1 million views.
अच्छा, okay.
So Tarun Anand, a 29-year-old professional stand-up comedian turned social media influencer, that is YouTuber, post-COVID lockdown with about 930K subscriber, just finished a most difficult level of Fall Guys, a game. He was streaming the game since 10 p.m. and was stuck on the same level for about 2 hours. He finally completed the most tiring and hectic game he has ever played and closed the live stream, which only had 38 viewers at the end, which initially had 79K viewers. He turns off the PC and goes to his bedroom, sets the alarm at 6 a.m. and sleeps. In the morning, the alarm rings at the assigned time. Tarun wakes up, goes to Rocket, his pet dog, gives him a hug, plays with him for a while, and then serves him his favorite chicken and vegetable pedigree. He then takes his iPad and writes few punchlines and jokes for a brand new stand-up special on which he had been working since lockdown. He then orders tandoori roti and butter chicken masala for lunch after having bread and egg at breakfast. He then goes into a room which he had made like a studio for making content for YouTube, like streaming games, reaction videos, and sometimes some vlogs, and occasionally few clips from his stand-up gigs. He turns on his PC and clicks on the YouTube studio. He sees that total number of subscribers have not increased from 930K since 15 days. He checks that his videos are
just a moment. देखो यहाँ पे I mean, yeah, of course it's visual and I can see the action and all, but there's certain things that you've written, like, you know, the total number of subscribers has not increased from 930,000 since 15 days. ये जो information है since last 15 days, how will the audience understand this?
So because he sees the the graph which is on the screen of the main character.
वो ग्राफ में पता
Then the
चलता है
camera will pan to the screen and you will see the statistics.
ठीक है वो ग्राफ या स्टैटिस्टिक्स से पता चलता है कि for the last 15 days, you know, there has been no increase. हाँ, वो visible है, होता है क्या? I don't know. I'm asking you.
No, but we cannot think it. But when the camera will pan at the screen, we can see the graph and all.
ग्राफ में पता चलता है, मैं वही पूछ रहा हूँ.
Yes, sir.
ठीक है, चलो continue.
He checks that his video are not being promoted by YouTube to new audiences. He also notices a decline in the graph of viewers' interaction, which is being shown on the screen regarding videos he has uploaded in past weeks. He immediately calls his social media manager Suhani and explains the situation. She calms him down and tells him about the change in YouTube's algorithm. She informs him about the mail which YouTube India has sent him and explains the changes that had been done. The new algorithm promotes the video not on the subscriber count, but on the likes, searches, and the watch time of the viewers. The situation becomes difficult for Tarun because now he has to keep in mind the likes and preferences of viewers, and his individual preference didn't matter now.
Okay, यहाँ पे देखो एक यहाँ पे ये information है, इसके दिमाग में अभी जो हो रहा है, डिसीजन ले रहा है, अरे यार मुझे ऐसा करना पड़ेगा, ये ऑडियंस को कैसे समझ में आएगा?
Yeah, this I can remove this.
Yeah, अभी remove मत करो, अभी but we just kind of discuss.
Okay, I am getting the point.
Okay, चलो.
He hears a beep and vibration on his phone. He asks some recommendations for content and then hangs up Suhani's call and picks the call of Zomato's delivery guy and tells him to leave the parcel at the doorstep since he has already paid for it. He texts Suhani to meet at his place and then had lunch with Rocket. They both then went to the living room and resumed the previous episode of Money Heist. Rocket sits on Tarun's lap and they both watched 3 episodes continuously. The doorbell rings, Rocket runs towards the gate and Tarun follows. It's Suhani. She hugs and gives belly rubs to Rocket, who is very happy. I have missed her happy. Who is very happy to meet someone after 3 weeks. Suhani has just received the negative.
Again, the meeting after 3 weeks, ये information कैसे पता चलेगा?
Yes.
है ना? ये तुम्हारे दिमाग में है, लेकिन हमें तो दिखाई नहीं दे रहा ना. The meeting after 3 weeks. Okay, चलो then.
Suhani has just received the negative RT-PCR report and is here to discuss about Tarun's social media growth.
Again, देखो, Suhani has just received this negative RT-PCR. This ये भी जो information है, ये भी तो कैसे हमें पता चलेगा?
Yes.
है ना? देखो क्या
Yes,
है? A script, though this is not a script, you are required to write a story. There's a difference between a story and a script. But just because the prompt is कि ऐसा film story लिखो जो 20 मिनट में हो सकता है. So what the examiners are trying to find out कि तुम्हारा वो visual imagination का tendency है या नहीं, ठीक है ना?
Yes.
तो वो है तुम्हारा, ऐसा नहीं कि नहीं है, लेकिन वो और भी तुम मजबूत कर सकते हो. हाँ, कैसे कर सकते हो? Try to avoid, what's happening, the decision a character is taking.
Yeah.
Kind of just stick to the externals. Okay. That will work in favor of all of you. I mean, and don't tell a very long story. Okay. So the 80% of the time, what you have written, वो visual है. कभी-कभी तुम कुछ ऐसी information pass on कर रहे हो जो possible नहीं है film में convey करना. ठीक है? चलो then. Okay.
She takes out a pack of Dunhill, takes a cigarette and lights it. Gives the pack to Tarun. He too takes out a cigarette and lights it. She takes a drag and sits on the couch next to Rocket in the living room. Tarun asks about what he should do and she suggests him to make more reaction videos, especially based on memes, because they have a larger audience and community than any other form of entertainment. At 9:30 p.m., he texts his fellow YouTubers and friends to join him at 10 p.m. to do a reaction video on different memes, but majority of them refused because they were busy. Nishant Gupta, his fellow comedian, and Rohan, his friend, agreed. He sends the Zoom link to join the panel and records an amazing video full of laughter, happiness, joy, and positivity. He loads it, and this goes on for weeks. This process continues for weeks. He could not see any vast difference in the statistics and reach of his video. The last video he uploaded was titled Pakistanis Are Savage, based on some famous memes from Pakistan. This video had a total view of 1.1 million, and overall insights showed only 0.75% of growth. He was shattered, means here again the emotions and all came. He was shattered emotionally as well as mentally. This broke him and caused long-lasting sadness and hopelessness because he wished far more and had greater expectations than what he had wanted.
Again, what he had wished. We have no way of knowing. It's happening inside his head. Okay, so this is a problematic line. Okay, chalo.
Yes. He shuts down his PC, dismantles the entire streaming setup, puts everything in a cardboard box along with his phone, and leaves his house after serving Rocket's favorite pedigree to him and keeping a bucket of fresh water for him to drink. Next morning, when Suhani tries to call Tarun, she could not connect and goes to his house. She finds that the door isn't locked and there is no sign of Tarun. She went inside his studio, sensing something is wrong. She finds that Rocket is playing with the mouse and the entire setup is scattered on the ground along with Tarun's phone. She immediately rushes to the police station and files a missing complaint. An informer from the police station informs a news agency, and this becomes a major news of the evening. Tarun Anand goes missing, a well-established stand-up comic and a social media influencer with 930K subscribers on YouTube could not be found anywhere. This video served as a form of publicity, and the subscriber count increased from 930K to 8.4 million. And the last video of Pakistanis are savage got a total views of 40 million. Cut to a small cafe in Ladakh. A man enters completely wrapped in a woolen clothes from head to toe, orders a cup of tea and sits at a table. He picks up the newspaper in front of him and reads the front page. Missing comedian creates a record as a social media influencer, fastest to gain 7.35 million subscribers in 7 days. The man drinks the tea, takes out the wallet, gives the money to the seller and closes the wallet. The name is there is a name imprinted on it, Tarun. He comes out of the cafe and removes his muffler, and a calm and bright face is looking towards the mountain. There is a smile on his face. He is no one but Tarun Anand.
Okay, this is fair enough how he kind of, is able to garner the desired ratings and followers and all once it disappears. Okay, so अच्छा है, but the problems जो मैंने बोला कि there are a lot of things that you have written which are not visual. Number one, number two, तुम्हारा कहानी का जो मतलब beginning है, the first 60% of the film, we are not being able to relate to the character. Okay, it is very essential in a film story that the audience relates to the character. यहाँ पे हमें लग रहा है यार उसको वो ठीक है सोशल मीडिया इन्फ्लुएंसर है एंड ऑल दैट, लेकिन उसको रेटिंग्स नहीं मिल रहा है, बहुत कोशिश कर रहा है फिर भी रेटिंग्स नहीं मिल रहा है. Somehow we are not being able to connect to his concerns and his frustrations. ठीक है?
Means the main character of Tarun is that he's only focused about number, about subscribers. And
somehow we are not
kind
able to. I can understand his problems, but somehow I'm not being able to connect with his concerns because it's not affecting me emotionally. There's nothing. There's something has to be at stake, which has to have some kind of an emotional value. Okay, so which is basically missing. But dhire dhire, of course, we get into the story and his whatever he's doing, his sudden disappearance, and then you're cutting to Ladakh. And what's happening there, etc., and how he's able to manage the kind of response he's looking for. This is fair enough, and I think it can be done in 20 minutes. Okay, and it's visual also. But next time, be aware, be a little careful about try to avoid lines which are not visual.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Chalo.
Thank you, sir.
सर
अभी कौन पढ़ोगे बोलो?
अभी रोनी सर नंबर 7.
अभी रोनी नंबर 7 ना. अच्छा एक सेकंड, लेट मी ओपन द डॉक्यूमेंट. अभी रोनी तुम कहाँ पे गायब हो गए थे?
सर आवाज नहीं जा रहा.
अभी रोनी नंबर social media influencer goes missing after his last post that crosses 1 million views. Okay.
अर्जुन
चलो अरे सुनो तुम्हारा कुछ प्रॉब्लम है बॉस, टेक्निकल, because your voice is cracking. It's always happening. Do something. Either your signal is very weak. Okay, ऐसा हो सकता है your signal is weak because तुम्हारा voice cut हो जाता है.
Okay.
Just somebody else please read because we are not being able to hear.
Number 4
Can I
Prashant.
अच्छा ठीक है, कौन? प्रशांत पहले पढ़ लो. प्रशांत ना?
Number 4.
Number 4 just okay. Let me come to number 4, 6, 5 and 4. Prashant Solanki. A chain smoker trying to quit smoking before the birth of his first child. Okay, chalo, start.
Yes, sir. I had sent I sent this yesterday. It's midnight and Naeem is sitting in his living room. He takes a drag from his cigarette and sighs. The living room is a mess. There are multiple glasses and plates of unfinished food along with used cigarettes. The TV is playing a random channel which Naeem is not interested in. He continues smoking. The same day in the afternoon, the house was filled with guests. Men were sitting on the table and talking, and children were running around the house. Can you scroll?
No, I'm not handling this now. You have to scroll.
Yes.
Happy birthday. The same.
The same day in the afternoon, the house was filled with guests. Men were sitting on the table and talking, and children were running around the house. Naeem was busy thanking people for the gifts he was receiving at the front door. Just then, Naeem notices Nishant walking towards him and puts on a fake smile. Happy birthday, bhai, Nishant says. Thank you, Naeem says for the millionth time. Andar jao, khana wana kha lo. Bhabhi kahan hai? Nishant asks. Andar hai. Naeem turns to look at his wife and so does his friend. Naeem's wife Alia, who is pregnant, is sitting on a chair in the kitchen as the other women are cooking and serving food. They're also managing the tantrums of the children. Alia notices her husband and his friend looking at her and smiles at Nishant. Nishant smiles back. Anytime now, huh? Anytime now, Naeem says. Congratulations, bro. Nishant hugs Naeem and puts his hand in Naeem's pocket. He whispers in Naeem's ear, "It's fresh, you're welcome." Naeem knows what it is and so does Alia, who has been noticing their whole exchange. हम वो सब छोड़ चुके हैं अभी. हम वो सब छोड़ चुके हैं अभी भाई. Naeem says. Birthday के दिन बनता है bro. Nishant says. Nishant walks in the house to meet other people. Naeem looks at Alia, who has been staring at him. He tries to act like nothing happened and smiles at her. Alia doesn't smile back and looks away. Naeem goes to the backyard where all the kids are playing. He smells something very bad when a little boy walks up to Naeem and pulls on Naeem's pants. He looks at the boy and asks,
So, second. How he smells something bad? No, yes. How will the smell is a sensation that we cannot show on screen. Okay.
Yes.
So if your character is smelling something bad, how would you convey that?
So I think the next line explains it. The little boy, almost crying, lifts up his pinky finger. Naeem looks at the boy's parents, who are enjoying his birthday party, and decides to deal with this on his own. In the washroom, when Naeem removes the little boy's trousers, a wave of horrible smell hits him. The boy has shat his pants too, which makes Naeem gag. Later, when the women in the kitchen have finally got a break from their work, some are drinking a glass of juice and some are standing and eating from plates. Alia is sitting on the same chair with a 5-year-old standing next to her. She notices the sensation but ignores it at first, but it happens again. Alia stands up and her water breaks. All the conversation stops and for a moment nobody knows what to do. Naeem calls out Alia when the other women react and help her. People get Alia into the car, but Naeem is nowhere to be found. Naeem reaches the hospital finally, runs through the corridors and notices his friend sitting outside the hospital room. They inform him that everything is okay and the next contraction may take hours. Naeem enters the hospital room. Alia is on her bed, facing the wall. She turns to look at Naeem. Where were you? Long story. Pranav's child shit his pants. I had to go to his home and get him changed. I'm sorry. How are you now? Come closer. Alia stretches her arms out. Naeem falls for it and hugs her when Alia starts to smell him. Naeem notices this and asks, "What are you doing?" You can't even keep one promise, Naeem. How are you going to look after my children? Naeem doesn't answer. He knows he has been caught. Taking the child to his home was an excuse to smoke his fresh weed and Alia knows it. You smell horrible. Can't even walk straight. Alia starts crying. Just go home. I don't want you near my baby. Naeem is ashamed. He does not leave and stands there looking at his feet. Alia starts screaming, "Leave." It's midnight now. Naeem is in his living room smoking his last cigarette. We're back at the first paragraph.
So this is good. देखो, this is good in the sense कि या तुम्हारा जो plot है, it has a certain immediacy, which is required in a film, which is required in a script, okay, or a film story. Immediacy मतलब अभी का अभी हो रहा है, तुरंत हमें एक जो समस्या है वो तुरंत मुझे दिखाई दे रहा है. It's very visual, very concrete, and there's a crisis, and there's kind of and the setting is the birthday setting. There are people around and all. Okay, so this is good. It can be made into a 20-minute film. सिर्फ दो एक जगह मुझे problem लगा कि last जो है last bit कि the fact that he was helping that kid, okay, was an excuse for him to smoke, basically.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
this is just an information, okay,
Yeah.
which we are not being able to see, or which we are not being able to understand. तुमने यहाँ पे आराम से लिख दिया, समझ में आ रहा है, लेकिन पर्दे में हम लोग ये कैसे देखेंगे, तो तरीका निकालना जरूरी है. ठीक है, number one. Number two, the fact that he's smoking his last cigarette. How do you know he's smoking his last cigarette? So we don't know that now, because he could continue to smoke. So यहीं पे थोड़ा सा problem है कि we not know how. We can just see he's smoking a cigarette. Whether it's the last cigarette or whether he'll continue to smoke, we have no way of knowing. Okay, and that it was an excuse for him to smoke when he was helping the kid. That also, that information is not coming out visually.
You have to show it.
You have to show it, or somehow कोई कैरेक्टर बोल सकता है, मुझे पता है तुम्हारा बहाना था, झूठ बोल रहे हो तुम, ऐसा फालतू का बात. I know you, we have been married for, we know each other for so many years. ये तुम्हारा बहाना था, तुम सिर्फ सिगरेट पीने के लिए, kind of somehow this message has to be conveyed. ठीक है ना? बाकी I think it's very good, and it can be made into a 20-minute film. Okay, and the plot is very, very kind of, it has a certain immediacy which is required in a film. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, चलो.
सभी रोनी, आवाज आ रही है?
अभी तो आ रही है आवाज. हाँ. ओके, तुम्हारा एकदम फर्स्ट है ना? कितना नंबर? 7 है ना? अच्छा. Six and 7. हाँ, चलो पढ़ो. हाँ, देखो अभिरानी, फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल व्हाट आई कैन सी, तुमने पैराग्राफ नहीं किया, पैराग्राफिंग नहीं किया, लंबा एक पैराग्राफ है ना? हाँ, ऐसा मत करो, ब्रेक इट इनटू पैराग्राफ्स, सो विजुअली इट इज इंटरेस्टिंग टू सी एंड रीड. नहीं तो ये बहुत ही मोनोटोनस, देखने में ही बहुत ही मोनोटोनस लग रहा है. ओके, सो ऑलवेज ब्रेक योर व्हाटएवर यू राइटिंग इनटू पैराग्राफ्स. ओके, चलो.
अर्जुन 27 साल का जर्नलिज्म में परास्नातक का छात्र है, जिसके जीवन का उद्देश्य लोगों तक सच पहुंचाना, और इसी उद्देश्य को पूरा करने के लिए एक दिन उसके शहर की चमड़े की फैक्ट्री की जांच पड़ताल के लिए सिर पर पगड़ी, एक पुरानी शर्ट और पैंट जिसमें कई छेद हैं पहनकर बिना सेव किए ही काम मांगने के लिए जाता है, क्योंकि उसे इंफॉर्मेशन मिली थी कि कंपनी में कुछ तो गड़बड़ है. वह देखता है कि एक 60 साल का व्यक्ति ब्रिजलाल सिक्योरिटी गार्ड के कपड़े पहने हुए फैक्ट्री के अंदर जाते हुए गाड़ियों को चेक करता है. अर्जुन अपनी मोबाइल का कैमरा ऑन करता है और उसे अपनी शर्ट की जेब में रखता है और गार्ड से काम मांगने के बारे में पूछता है. गार्ड उसे फैक्ट्री के अंदर एक छोटे से कमरे में बैठे व्यक्ति अनिल 35 साल की ओर इशारा करता है और वहां जाने को कहता है. अर्जुन भोला सा चेहरा लेकर उसके पास पहुंचता है, हाथ जोड़कर बड़े दीन दुखियों की तरह काम मांगता है, जिसकी वजह से उसे काम मिल जाता है और उसे काम करने की जगह और मजदूरों से मिलाया जाता है. अर्जुन कुछ घंटे काम करने के बाद चुपके से फैक्ट्री के अंदर वाले हिस्से में घुस जाता है, जहां मजदूरों को जाने की अनुमति नहीं होती. वह देखता है कि उस 100 वर्ग फीट के कमरे में 50 किलो की 30 बोरियां कमरे की दाएं ओर रखी हैं. उसे लगता है कि कोई उसे देख रहा है. वह पीछे मुड़ता है और देखता है कोई नहीं है. वह धीरे से दरवाजा बंद करता है और दबे पांव बोरी की तरफ जाता है. वह बोरी को खोलता है तो उससे चावल मिलता है. वह अपने दोनों हाथ बोरी के अंदर डालता है और उसके हाथ एक पैकेट लगता है. वह उसे बाहर निकालता है तो सफेद पाउडर का पैकेट और गन बाहर निकलता है. वह पाउडर को अपनी जीभ पर रखता है तो पता चलता है कि ये तो ड्रग्स है। वह तुरंत सभी बोरी को खोलता है और उसमें सभी बंदूक और ड्रग्स बाहर निकालता है और उन्हें एक तरफ रखता है। उसके मोबाइल फोन में ये सब रिकॉर्ड हो रहा था। वह तुरंत इस वीडियो को सोशल मीडिया पर अपनी सभी ग्रुप में शेयर करता है। यह वीडियो देखते देखते वायरल हो जाता है, 1 मिलियन से ज्यादा व्यू पहुंच जाता है, क्योंकि सिर्फ एक चमड़े की फैक्ट्री से इसके मालिक ने जरूरत से ज्यादा पैसा बना लिया था, जो किसी को हजम नहीं हो रहा था। अर्जुन जान गया था कि ये लोग बहुत खतरनाक लोग हैं। वो चुपचाप कमरे से बाहर निकलने के लिए दरवाजा खोलता है, लेकिन जैसे ही वो अपना सिर बाहर निकालता है, वो देखता है कि अनिल बाहर बैठा उसे घूर रहा है, जैसे उसे बस उसका इंतजार था। अर्जुन तेजी से उसकी विपरीत दिशा में भागने की कोशिश करता है, लेकिन अनिल जोर से चिल्लाता है और उसके आदमी उस कमरे की तरफ आते हैं और अर्जुन को अपनी तरफ दौड़ते हुए देखते हैं। अर्जुन, अनिल और उनके आदमियों के बीच फंस जाता है, लेकिन तब तक पुलिस के वैन की आवाज सुनाई देती है और कुछ आदमी अर्जुन का मुंह बांधकर उसे पीछे के रास्ते से बाहर ले जाते हैं। और अनिल और उसके कुछ आदमी ड्रग्स को छिपाने की कोशिश में होते हैं, लेकिन तब तक पुलिस आ जाती है और अनिल को रंगे हाथ पकड़ लेती है। लेकिन अनिल के कुछ आदमी अर्जुन के साथ भाग चुके होते हैं। पुलिस अनिल और उस फैक्ट्री के मालिक को कस्टडी में लेते हैं और फैक्ट्री को सील कर देते हैं, मगर अर्जुन का कुछ पता नहीं चलता है। एक दिन बाद पास की नदी में एक व्यक्ति नहा रहा था। वह नदी में डुबकी लगाता है और जब ऊपर आता है तो वो डर जाता है, क्योंकि उसके ठीक सामने एक लाश तैर रही होती है। वह जोर से चिल्लाता हुआ वहां से भागता है, आसपास के लोगों को बुलाता है और उस लाश के बारे में बताता है, और लोग पुलिस बुलाते हैं। पुलिस के जांच पड़ताल करने में पता चलता है कि ये लाश अर्जुन की है।
अच्छा, बस okay. So basically he breaks a breaks a news and then he's murdered. Basically, that is how he disappears. And this news garners a lot of more than 1 million this thing, and he's basically kind of बदमाश लोग जो है उसको murder करते हैं। ठीक है, I think this is fair enough. It's a good thing which can be made into a 20-minute film. Okay, and so most of it is visual also. मतलब हमें दिखाई दे रहा है क्या लिख रहे हो, except the first couple of lines जहाँ पे तुमने लिखा अर्जुन जर्नलिस्ट, क्या जर्नलिज्म में परास क्या बड़ा छात्र है जिसके जीवन का उद्देश्य लोगों तक सच पहुंचाना है, और ऐसी उद्देश्य को पूरा करने के लिए एक दिन उसके शहर में यहाँ तक थोड़ा सा प्रॉब्लम है। वो जर्नलिज्म के छात्र है, हमें कैसे पता है ना, और उसका क्या उद्देश्य है जिंदगी का, वो भी हमें पता नहीं है। हमें कहानी का समझ तभी से आता है जब he gets the job and starts making inquiries and discovers a secret passage and all that stuff, है ना, तो वहां से कहानी विजुअल हो जाता है। तो बाकी सब ठीक है, और बस यही है। So this is what is desired, okay, but do some paragraphing, break it into smaller paragraphs so it's easier to read, okay? ठीक है, चलो अभी कौन, दुर्गेश्वरी शर्मा?
Yes sir.
तुम पढ़ोगे?
Yes sir.
एक सेकंड, लेट मी ओके, चलो हाँ पढ़ो।
Gitika opens her eyes slowly. At first, her vision is not clear. She rubs her eyes and sees everything blurry. She touches her head, which is still in pain. She lies on her back to see the ceiling fan rotating at a minimal speed. The fan is engulfed with smoke. A chill rolls down her spine and she touches her belly to feel the baby. She cannot sense or feel any movement. She tries to get up but is unable to do so. She starts sweating profusely. Sweat starts dripping down her head, which merges with her tears. She touches her belly again, but in vain. She turns towards her right side and sees a human skull lying on the floor. The skull is designed in between some kumkum and ash. Agarbatti and camphor is lit at the four corners of the skull. She is shocked to look at her surroundings. A cupboard is there across the corner of the room. In the reflection of the mirror, which is attached to the cupboard, she sees a woman coming from. Ma'am, can you please scroll?
देखो, I can't scroll. I don't have the controls. Okay. What I'm doing, I'm referring to a different this thing which was mailed to me.
Okay.
Okay.
she sees a woman coming from the other room.
Mhm.
Gitika gets up with a start. As she gets up, she feels a kick in her belly. She
Mhm.
breathes a sigh of relief after knowing that her baby is alive and kicking. The woman in her late 50s enters the room with a tray full of fruits, salad, food, and some juice. Oh, you woke up. How are you? I am Kajal, your biggest fan and follower, tells the woman. Gitika moves away from her and takes the support of the wall to sit. How did I come here and what is all this? Asked Gitika, looking around at the room. Your servant drugged you to get you here. I paid her heavily, said Kajal. How dare she and how dare you? You know that I am pregnant. How could you think of drugging me? Shouts Gitika. Relax, Bacha. Your child is my priority since the time I envisioned it in your last video. It is the safest with me. Soon your delivery will happen and I will raise your child as if it were mine. I'll steal your dream, tells Kajal and laughs. Gitika gulps down her spit and looks at the woman with dismay. Please wait, please wait. Um,
Hello, we've lost you, I think. Hello.
so it's come. Please don't scroll. Uh, come on, eat something. Tells Kajal. Gitika asks her to keep the tray on the floor. She senses that if she does not obey the woman, then things might not go her way. So she quietly asks the woman to escort her to the toilet.
एक सेकंड
Kajal
यहाँ पे
helps her
again
get
यहाँ
up
पे
and
यहाँ
takes
पे
her to the.
hello हाँ she realizes
Yes,
that
sir.
if
Yes, sir.
she realizes that if she does not obey the woman, something bad will happen to her. So again, this is a line
Yes,
which is
sir.
happening inside her head. Okay, so don't read
Right,
write these kind
right,
of
sir.
line. ठीक है ना, just the externals. Okay, then.
Okay, okay. Kajal helps her to get up and takes her to the toilet, which is outside the house. Geetika takes a look at the surroundings and realizes that she is cut off from the city and is an isolated place. Geetika goes to the toilet and locks herself in the toilet. She removes her side purse and looks for her phone, which is not there. She assumes that Kajal has taken it. She unzips a secret zipper, which she had custom made for her purse. She removes her iPhone from her phone and opens the camera. She looks at herself and finds out that there is, please can you scroll? Out there, there is kumkum on her forehead. She immediately starts shooting a video of herself. She describes everything that has happened to her. She opens her account and blocks Kajal from her account and then posts the video on social media account along with the location of the place. She keeps the tag running so that nobody can hear her from outside. The woman knocks on the door. Gitika tells her that she is coming. A notification appears on her phone that the video has got one view. She quickly switches off her phone and keeps it back in the secret zipper. She pretends to be sick and asks the woman to escort her back. Kajal offers her food again, but Gitika asks for a packet of biscuits as she is craving for those. Kajal puts on chanting of the Gayatri mantra on loudspeaker and Gitika sits worriedly eating biscuits.
Okay. So just tell me very briefly, I mean, Gitika jo hai, why has she been kind of social media goes missing after, why has she been kind of,
So
she's
it's
been
like
held up?
she has posted this video before her delivery that that this is, these women post their videos on social media regarding their pregnancy and other details they give. So this woman has been tracking her all the time and she wanted to use her for her tantric purposes and also she kidnapped.
Acha. Okay.
Yes.
ठीक है. And once she's inside the bathroom, she uploads everything and she immediately garners 1 million views. Huh?
No, as soon as her previous video was 1 million views, that's how she
Acha.
kidnapped her.
Okay.
So
Okay.
this,
Sorry. Acha. And this
So-
helps her to get herself rescued, kind of. Okay.
yes,
That we can understand that she rescued. Okay. I think this is a nice story. There's a lot of suspense. There's an atmosphere, and there's tension, and it can be done in 20 minutes, and people can relate to the character who has been kidnapped, and relate to the character's concerns, and kind of there's a dramatic, what we call in cinematic language, dramatic tension है हमारे story में, ठीक है ना? और 20 मिनट में बहुत अच्छा film बन सकता है. And of course, it's visual also. Okay, most of it is something, whatever is happening, we can see in front of our eyes. It's very, very palpable, which is desired. Okay, I think this is very good.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Okay, अभी कौन है?
Hello, sir. I'm here.
वत्सला. Okay. अच्छा, एक सेकंड. अच्छा, और कौन कौन है यहाँ पे आज? पार्टिसिपेंट्स 14 पार्टिसिपेंट्स मैं देख रहा हूँ आज. 14 के अंदर how many of you have already started? How many of you are left? Can we take a 10-minute break and then meet? कितने हो गए? वत्सला, प्रशांत बाकी है ना? प्रशांत, you're left. भाभी and all, है ना? Let's do one thing. It's 7:03 now. Let's meet at 7:10. Let's take a 7-minute break. ठीक है?
Okay, sir.
7:10 को मिलते हैं हम लोग. Okay, चलो. Yeah, okay. Vatsala, you there?
Yes, sir.
Just a moment. Vatsala, yes, start reading.
Yes. The prompt is social media influencer. I'm just starting. Kostav is clutching his head on the sofa. He looks up and sees a picture of Jilmil's latest Instagram post with 1.5 million likes and 700K comments. The female news anchor reads out the cryptic caption in a sensational tone. You sometimes think you want to disappear, but all you really want is to be found. She lets the silence sink in. He switches off the TV and tries to watch some funny cat and dog videos on YouTube to temporarily calm him down.
Just a moment, just a
Yeah.
moment. Kostav is clutching his head on the sofa. He looks up and sees a picture of Jilmi's latest Instagram post with Itna, whatever. The female news anchor reads out the cryptic. Who is this female news anchor and who is Jilmil? Is Jilmil the ये कौन है? Is a third character or Jilmil is the female news anchor?
Sir, Jilmil is the one who has the Instagram post which is crossing 1 million likes. She's the social media influencer.
And female news anchor is on the television or what? क्या है?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So she's on television. She's saying कि you sometimes think you want to disappear, but all you really want is to be found, है ना?
She is reading the caption of the post which Jilmil has made. Yeah.
Oh, she reads out the cryptic caption in a sensation. But all you okay. She lets the silence sink in. Continue. Okay.
Yeah, he switches off the TV and tries to watch some funny cat and dog videos on YouTube to temporarily calm himself down. But he becomes frozen when he sees a video recommendation. The thumbnail shows a smiling picture of Jilmil against a darkened background with the words suicide murder. The title of the video is Did Jilmil Chopra Really Disappear? A Feet Mental Health Expert. He watches the first few minutes of the video. He realizes that the YouTuber does not have more information than the news anchor. The only thing he's doing differently is analyzing Jilmil's entire social media feed for signs of suicidal ideation. And he isn't the only one. Kostov quickly finds tons of videos, podcasts, and shorts on Instagram, Spotify, YouTube. Some are specifically about Jilmil, but some are indirectly about her turmoil and targeted towards better mental health. He scoffs at a commenter saying that Jilmil's disappearance is a wake up call. He screams, everything is a wake up call, and throws his phone against the wall. His slow breathing is becoming more and more labored. He climbs up the stairs to the first floor of his duplex, a hand on his heart. He sinks onto the bed and closes his eyes. A short nap later, Kostov rises and stands in front of the opposite wall. He touches a photograph of him and Jilmil in college taken from an instant camera. The photograph is blurry, but it shows Jilmil in her braces with a self-conscious smile, incorrectly holding a glass of wine. Kostov beside her is laughing and holding his glass most elegantly. He retrieves a small wooden box from underneath the bed. It has more photos. Jilmil and Kostov posing in front of the robot they made in college, feeding ducks in a nearby garden, kissing on Jilmil's 21st birthday, surrounded by cake and friends. Jilmil posing with the makeup brand that she endorsed. He touches the photos, movie tickets, and perfume and picks up a note with kisses on it. It is the most trivial note ever, telling him what groceries he must pick along the way. Somehow, this trivial note causes him to cry. Once his tears have dried up, he decides to drive. He looks outside and sees the abandoned mill outside Mumbai. He drives slightly further and comes to an unexpectedly green and beautiful field. He gets off the car, slams the door, and walks, following the footsteps in the mud. The muscles of his shoulders are tense. He breathes a sigh of relief and fresh tears come to his eyes. Oh my God, Jilmil. Just by seeing her back, he can tell that it is her. She has a stone in her hand as she sits in front of the well. She looks back at him. He approaches her slowly. You sometimes think you want to disappear, but all you really want is to be found. Midway through the sentence, she starts speaking along with him. There is a profound silence, as if nothing else needs to be said. He sits beside her, picks up a stone, and throws it on the surface of the well. It splashes the green water of the well covered in algae. He listens to the echo. Silence. She throws a stone, splash, echo, and silence again. He looks into her eyes, the smudged eyeliner, the makeup which could not hide the dark circle. She looks tired, so utterly exhausted. He gulps, his eyes are teary again, and he wants to say something, but it feels wrong to disturb the profound silence of this place. After a few seconds of intense eye contact, he says in a hoarse voice, I see you've had a tough time. She stares at him blankly. He, a grown up man, starts sobbing like a child. She smiles, places a hand on his head, and lets him cry. Suddenly, she points out something to him in childlike glee, a group of migratory birds in the distance. The two of them are fascinated with this phenomena. Finally, Jilmil stands up, holding out her hand to him. Kostov gets up. Jilmil and Kostov start walking beyond the field without knowing what lies ahead. Kostov suddenly asks her, Are you real? Jilmil doesn't reply. She wipes the last remnant of his tears. He shuts up and continues walking.
Okay, देखो ये kind of what exactly a social media influencer goes missing after last post that crosses 1 million. So when you begin the story, Jilmil is a social media influencer who's already missing, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and Jilmil's her last post had garnered 1.5 million likes and stuff like that, and her disappearance has caused kind of sensation everywhere. It's on television news also with the suicide or murder, etc., etc. Okay, so this triggers some kind of a chain of memories in her friend Kostov. Is that so? He looks up old photographs.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Yes.
and then he goes out driving. Okay, and suddenly he stumbles into Jilbit, isn't it?
Yes.
It's almost it's a coincidence, isn't it?
Yes, sir, but
Uh-huh.
I've kept it a bit open-ended. Like, it is not clear whether Jilmil is real or he is like imagining her. So I've kept it a bit open-ended.
Acha. And what are the exchanges? Just can you repeat the exchanges that they kind of engage in after if kya hota hai? There's a profound silence, nothing needs to be said. He sits beside her, picks up a stone and throws it on the surface of the well. It splashes the green water. It's very visual. One good thing about your writing is very visual. It listens to the echo, silence. She throws a stone, splash, echo, silence again. You've created the ambience. It's a nice ambience. He looks into her eyes, the smudged eyeliner, the makeup, which could not hide the dark circles. She looks tired, so utterly exhausted. He gulps. His eyes are teary again, and when he wants to say something, feels wrong to disturb the profound silence of this place. After a few seconds of intense silence, he says in a hoarse voice, I see you've had a tough time. She stares at him blankly. He, a grown-up man, starts sobbing like a child. She smiles, places a hand on his head, and lets him cry. Suddenly, she points out something to him in childlike, a group of migratory birds in the distance. The two of them are fascinated with the phenomenon. Finally, Jilmi stands up, holding out her hand to him. Kostov gets up. Jilmi and Kostov start walking beyond the field without knowing what lies ahead. Are you real? Kostov suddenly asks. Jimmy said doesn't reply. She wipes the last end of his tears. He shuts up, continues to walk. Okay, some kind of a sense of loss that this guy, this childhood friend, is suffering from. Is that so?
Yes, sir. I've kind of implied that they were like dating in college. So I think she was his first love. So
Acha.
he knows a lot of things about her, and he's coming to this place which he knows that she used to go in the past. And
Right, right.
yeah, now it is not sure whether she's really there or not. But
Okay, that is ambiguous. That is ambiguous. That I get. Okay, but why does she disappear? I mean, she just wanted to step out of all this hula baloo kind of thing, or what? Kind of.
sir, above I have put that she has put this cryptic post, and people are analyzing her social media feed and finding the hints of suicidal ideation. So
Okay.
people are finding the
Yeah.
hints in the social media.
Right. I think this is very good. This is very, very evocative. It creates a certain mood. It creates some kind of an ambience. Okay. And of course, it can be made into a 20-minute film. And we are identifying with both the characters. We are identifying with Kostov, okay, as he reminisces and all. And this ambiguous meeting with the girl. Okay. I think this is very good. Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
At least unlike your previous thing, which were dependent on a lot of dialogues, यहाँ पे तुम इतना dialogues का सहारा नहीं लिया तुमने, okay, and it's very very visual, and it's very very kind of some kind of a mood you have been able to convey, which is very very cinematic, which is good about it. Okay, chalo
Yeah,
then.
thank you, sir. Your
Yeah.
advice really helped, sir. I was able to let go of dialogues.
Okay, chalo. अभी कौन है? आदित्य, तुम? आदित्य पढ़ोगे तुम अभी? अरे यार आदित्य बहुत लंबा लिखा है. चलो स्टार्ट रीडिंग. Okay, hunger of fame. Aditya, can you hear me? Where are you, Aditya? Or who is there? Who's going to read? Who's next in line, please?
So I can read my second story that I submitted today.
Acha, Prakhar, na?
Yes.
Acha. Is it there in this document?
Yes, sir, the sixth one.
Sixth one. Okay, let me. Prakhar, the social media influencer goes missing after his last post. Process 1 million views. Okay, chalo. Yeah.
Raghav wakes up with a jolt.
Hmm.
His forehead is covered with sweat and he shivers frantically. He's not in his bed. His habit of sleepwalking has taken him to several places, but he'd never imagined he'd wake up in a graveyard on a pitch black night.
Okay, यहाँ पे देखो, just a moment. Raghav wakes up with jolt, I can see. His forehead is covered with sweat, I can see, and he shivers frantically, I can see. He's not on his bed, of course, we can see that. His habit of sleepwalking has taken it to several places before, but he had never imagined that he'd wake up in a graveyard on a pitch black night. So how would the audience know that he's got this habit of sleepwalking? And he had walked to different places before.
Just
Follow?
Yes.
This is an information which you cannot see. It's just an information. Okay. Chalo, continue to read. Okay.
But it's not the graveyard that's got him scared beyond his wits. For Raghav had visited the same graveyard the night before to record a video for his YouTube channel.
Again, this information हमें कैसे पता चलेगा that he had come here before, the night before, to record something.
Right, sir.
Okay, chalo.
Raghav is shivering because he had just woken up from a nightmare, the most contorted dream he'd ever had.
Okay, again, how do we know he has woken up from a nightmare? We have no way of knowing. These are just information. Okay, chalo, third paragraph.
He remembers making a deal with the devil in this very graveyard, a deal for 1 million views on his latest video.
Again, this is the information that we can't see. This again is information which is not visual at all. Okay, the only thing that we can see is woken up. There's a character we can see finds himself in a graveyard in the middle of the night. That is the only visual that we see. उसके बाद तुमने जो भी लिखा है, those are just information which has already happened to you, and we have no way of seeing those whatever has happened. So it's not visual at all. Okay, continue.
The devil, greedily rubbing his hand, promised widespread fame to Azad, along with the 1 million views. At any cost, the devil added in a hushed tone. In return, the devil asked Raghav to dig up a grave so that the devil could rest in peace. As soon as Raghav had finished digging up, he got pushed into the grave, and that made Raghav wake up. He didn't know what to make of it, so he got up and dusted away his clothes. The hair on his neck goes up with dread when his eyes fall upon the open grave next to him.
Just a moment. एक चीज हो सकता है. Maybe you can start with the description of the nightmare. ठीक है ना? We see a character, talking to kind of a devil kind of a character. Okay, जो तुमने अभी ये किया. I promise you will get garner more than a billion likes, etc., etc. Okay, and you have to dig a grave, but I have a condition: you have to dig a grave and start digging the grave, and the grave is dug. He's pushed inside, and suddenly you cut back to the present, and the audience realizes, oh, this was a dream. This guy was dreaming, having a nightmare. Can you get me what I'm saying?
Begin with the nightmare.
Begin with the nightmare, and then you come to the present, immediately when he wakes up. Then it becomes very visual. Okay. Otherwise, it's looking just like information. Okay, chalo, then.
The hair on his neck goes up with dread when his eyes fall upon the open grave next to him, the grave that he had dug up in his dream.
Okay.
Raghav runs for his life and doesn't stop until he's reached his home. He heads straight for his phone and views the video he had recorded last night. Nothing special about it, but not too bad either. How can this video hit 1 million anyway? He laughs out loud, dismissing his nightmare, and goes on to upload the video. Exhausted after the tumultuous night, he hits the bed. Raghav sleeps the entire day, but not peacefully. He keeps twisting and jerking, too tired to get up. Meanwhile, he receives multiple notifications that his video had crossed 1K views, had over 1K comments, and was featured in the trending videos too. Within the next hour, the video crosses 500K views and soon hits the 900K mark. Raghav gets woken up by a call from his friend who congratulates him for going trending overnight. Raghav, unable to make sense, checks his video. 999K views. The hair on his neck goes up again. What had happened was impossible, wasn't organic, and Raghav didn't feel right about it. With a second's delay, he takes down the video from his channel. He had learned an important lesson, he felt. Greed can get you fame, but not peace of mind. And now, having deleted the video, Raghav had gotten rid of his greed and gotten back his peace of mind. He views the video one last time in his gallery and then deletes it permanently. Shook up, but feeling better, Raghav decides to get in an hour of slumber before getting up. Meanwhile, another notification hits his phone, congratulating him on his last video crossing 1 million views. Oblivious, Raghav goes missing the next day. A few days later, a body with a broken foot is discovered in a graveyard. The same graveyard. The case of Raghav's suicide gets widespread attention from the media and the masses.
Very good. It's very good. It's basically a pact with the devil. Okay, and how he becomes a victim of his own greed and all, and he dies, isn't it?
Yes.
So I think this is very good. This can be made into a 20-minute film. Just that you begin the story with the nightmare, then cut to the present. Okay. So if there's another line which I find kind of, there's the second last paragraph. He had learned an important lesson. Yeah, he felt this is again something we don't see. Greed can get you fame, but not peace of mind. So how will you convey this pictorially, visually? Okay, I don't have an immediate answer for this, but this is how you have to think along. Whatever he has learned,
narrative
visually मैं कैसे करूं, तो वो तुम्हें practice करना पड़ेगा, because that is what is required. And now, having deleted the video, Raghav has gotten rid of his greed and gotten back his peace of mind. So all these things are happening inside his head. Okay, we can't see this. Okay, all these things, the views, but what we can see, he views the video one last time in his gallery and then deletes it permanently. Shook up but feeling better through his expression, Raghav decides to get in and goes off to sleep. Okay, he goes off to sleep. Meanwhile, another notification hits his phone, congratulating him on his last video crossing 1 million views, and then Raghav goes missing the next day. Now Raghav goes missing the next day. This again is an information. This also has to be kind of visualized. Okay, who discovers? Who discovers? How does the news spread that he's missing? Okay, so this also has to be externalized. Okay, and of course the last line is, a few days later, body with a broken foot is found. This is something that we can see. The same graveyard. The case of Raghav's suicide gets widespread attention of the media and the masses. ठीक है. This is fair enough. 90% of what you have written is good. Just that 10% of it is information which needs to be visualized or picturized.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Chalo. Yeah. अभी कौन है? कौन? सोहम? Huh? Okay. Soham is number 2. Okay, चलो सोहम. क्या है तुम्हारा prompt क्या है?
Sir, Soham has read the story before. It's yesterday's.
Oh, acha, this is yesterday's. Okay. So now who's going to read? Is there anybody who's left? ये किसका है? आदित्य? Aditya, you were there? Are you there? Bhavik Patel, you are there. I can see Bhavik Patel. I can see Prashant. तुमने पढ़ा प्रशांत आज? प्रखर ने तो पढ़ा.
सर प्रशांत या पढ़ा.
तुमने पढ़ा ना? क्या था तुम्हारा
हाँ.
कहानी? क्या था तुम्हारा
वो
कहानी?
चेन स्मोकर बर्थडे इवेंट है और
हाँ, okay, yeah, that was quite nice, yeah. और OGC ब्रिजू पुरिया तुमने पढ़ा आज? Then
No, sir. I actually just came. I couldn't do it today, but
Acha,
I
okay.
didn't wanted to miss the class, so I came.
Okay. But have you been listening to us, our discussions?
Yes.
Okay, ठीक है. And yeah, Ninad's, I can see Ninad's Galaxy A51. Is Ninad there? Okay, who else? Who is left? Just a moment, huh? हाँ मुगल बोलो. हाँ बोलो. हाँ करूंगा मैं. हाँ धीरे करूंगा मैं. ठीक है ना? हाँ ठीक है. अच्छा है. आधा घंटे में आ रहा हूँ. हाँ बोलो. अभी कौन है?
सर आशुतोष, मैंने स्टोरी भेजा था लेकिन इसमें डॉक्यूमेंट में है नहीं.
अच्छा, can you share your screen and read out?
Yes.
Okay, do that. Okay, can you enlarge it a little? थोड़ा सा हाँ. Okay, चलो हाँ, this is good, fair enough. Okay, Ashutosh, change from trying to quit smoking to the birth of the first child. Okay, चलो पढ़ो.
Sarvesh, 30, is driving his wife Kanks to the airport, who is 5 months pregnant. It's dark and Sarvesh is smoking while racing up the car. Suddenly, Kanks starts coughing and it gets really bad really fast. Sarvesh stops the car to check on her. My stomach is hurting, Kanks says in excruciating pain. Sarvesh throws the half-smoked cigarette out of the car and rushes her to the hospital.
Just a moment. यहाँ पे देखो कांश जो उसका वाइफ का नेम इज कांश, तो वो कैपिटल के क्यों नहीं है, स्मॉल के क्यों है?
Yes.
है ना? देखो ये ऐसा मिस्टेक्स करोगे ना, इट लुक्स एज इफ द राइटर इज नॉट वेरी सीरियस, इज वेरी केयरलेस. सो ये ऐसा मत करो. यू हैव टू बी आई मीन वेरी केयरफुल अबाउट these little things like punctuations, paragraphs, complete sentences. Okay.
Yes.
Language need not be perfect. Okay. But these are basic things. अगर comma full stop नहीं दोगे और तुम SMS वाला language use करोगे, अगर किसी का नाम तुम capitals से नहीं शुरू करोगे, बोलेगा अरे ये तो careless बंदा है. Okay.
Yes.
Immediately you are prejudicing the examiner. Okay, चलो. So she's driven to the hospital. Okay. Then what happens?
Sarvesh is sitting in the waiting room, waiting for the doctor to come out. His legs are shaking heavily. Other people's names are getting called while he is nervously waiting to hear his. He takes out a carton of cigarettes from his left shirt pocket and gets up to go out to smoke. He comes back after 7 minutes and hears the receptionist calling out his name again and again.
Again, you see, यहाँ पे जो तुमने जो पैराग्राफ पढ़ा, वहाँ पे कोई भी पंक्चुएशन नहीं है. हाँ, Sarvesh is sitting in the waiting room, waiting for the doctor to come out. Full stop. His legs are shaking heavily. Full stop. Other people's names are getting called while he's nervously waiting to hear his. Full stop. He takes out a carton of cigarette from his left shirt pocket and gets up to go out to smoke. Full stop. He comes back after sir. ये जो punctuation है, ये punctuation तुमने क्यों नहीं किया? क्यों नहीं दिया बोलो? These punctuations. Why have you written it through commas and long continuous sentences?
Yeah.
So you have to be very careful. This I'm telling everybody. Most of you have not done this, but this I can observe in Ashutosh ka writing. But don't do this. Be very careful about your constructions. Okay, it's looking
Yes.
very, very careless. Okay, chalo then.
He rushes towards her. Why are you screaming? I am here. The receptionist looks at him annoyed. Your wife and doctor is waiting for you in the office. Sarvesh bangs open the office door, grabs his wife's hand and starts rubbing it gently. Is everything all right, honey? She pulls back her hand and looks at the doctor without replying to him.
While replying to him, बोलो, without नहीं, yeah, while she pulls back her hand and looks at the doctor while replying to him. Okay, then.
Yes, sir, वहाँ पे without लिखना था, मैंने by mistake
अच्छा,
लिख
ठीक
दिया.
है, without replying to him. Okay, that. बोलो.
Sarvesh is confused. He sits on the chair and asks the doctor what happened. It's the smoke, doctor exclaims. We can't be sure, but there's a high chance the excess smoke in the car was the reason which blocked her air passages, making it harder for her to breathe. Passive smoking is as harmful as active smoking, especially for someone who is having a baby. Doctor continues to lecture him on the topic, but Sarvesh can't hear anything. He zones out, tears rolling down his cheek, his wife looking at him in utter silence, sort of wanting to say, I told you so. Is the baby fine? Sarvesh in a cracked voice holding back his tears. While as of now he is fine, but I would suggest not to smoke with her in the same room. They are driving back home. Can you drop me at my aunt's place? Kank says. Sarvesh doesn't ask anything. No music is playing. They just drive in utter silence. Sarvesh comes home alone, throws the half empty carton of cigarettes in the dustbin and turns the light off. That's the day I decided never to touch cigarette again. Sarvesh, standing in front of 30 odd people in a support center, holding his 1 year clean badge. He looks at Kansh and his 8-month-old son Mihir, smiling back at him. Crowd gives a slow clap while he goes back to his chair.
Okay. Yeah, what I like about your story is this key. First of all, it's very visual. I can see the actions happening. I can see the tension. I can see the lady falling sick and the hospital, vagera. Okay, and he goes out for a smoke, comes back after 7 minutes, and there's a confrontation scene with the doctor who lectures him on the harmful effects of smoking, etc., etc. And when she's driving back home, the wife says, "Drop me at my aunt's place." And the realization dawns on him, I should not be smoking. And then we move ahead in time and we see that there's a support group and etc. Just quit smoking. But जो तुम्हारे कहानी में missing है कि ये जो struggle, तुम्हें struggle दिखाना चाहिए था कि he's trying to quit but is not being able to quit.
Yes.
हाँ, ये बहुत ही तुम्हारा स्टोरी में बहुत ही easily he quits.
Yes.
Okay, itna easily, first of all, the people who genuinely are the people who are smokers actually, it's the most difficult thing to quit smoking. Okay, बहुत परेशानी होता है, बहुत problems होता है, बहुत withdrawal symptoms होते हैं, etc. etc. So यहाँ पे वो बहुत conveniently, he quit smoking and वो lectured there like group of 30 people. तो तुमने जो struggle जो है, तुम tension दिखाया शुरुआत में tension हो रहा है, drive करके जा रहे हैं लेकिन वो जो स्ट्रगल में तुम्हें कंसंट्रेट करना चाहिए था which is missing क्योंकि स्ट्रगल से ही कॉन्फ्लिक्ट पैदा होता है कॉन्फ्लिक्ट से ही the story becomes interesting. Okay, yes. As I was telling all of you yesterday, there have to be three elements in any film story. There has to be the main character who is called the protagonist. He has to have some kind of a desire. यहाँ पे he wants desire क्या है? I want to quit smoking because I'm expecting a child. Okay, and the struggle which creates the conflict. Three: protagonist, his desire, and the obstacle on his path. Obstacle, the sum total of all the obstacles creates the conflict. तो तुम्हारा यहाँ पे जो कहानी जो है यहाँ पे तुम्हारा protagonist है उसका desire है you must quit smoking लेकिन वो struggle या conflict नहीं है. That is where you are losing.
Yes.
ठीक है. There's and the very first line, he's driving his wife to the airport. How will we know he's driving his wife to the airport and why is he driving his wife to the airport? Why is that information necessary?
Yes, sir. I should drop that line.
Maybe they're going to a party or somewhere. They're
Yeah.
talking. So that all information also has to be conveyed that they're going to a party. He's driving to the airport to drop his wife. Which is never followed up again.
Yes.
Okay, so that is a very kind of unnecessary line, unnecessary detail. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Chalo then.
Thank you,
Yeah.
sir.
Yeah. और कौन है बचा है भैया बोलो. if somebody is left, please come forward and start reading your story. Or if you have any queries, if you want to ask me any questions, okay, you can please ask me. कोई doubts, कोई clarification कुछ भी हो तुम्हारे दिमाग में तो मुझे पूछ सकते हो. And most probably we will be meeting next week. We'll not be meeting on Wednesday and Thursday. We'll be meeting on Friday and Saturday. That Naresh Sharma will confirm. Okay. Any questions?
Yes, sir. I had a question.
Bolo.
I wanted to ask this thing I partly asked you yesterday also, but I am still not clear. Like, how should we practice? Because there we have to write on a paper with a pen. We don't have the option of editing. It's basically gonna be a single thing. Like you just start writing, and is the reason why they do it the way they've done it? Is it because they just want to understand how you extemporaneously think and come up with stories?
Yes, number one. Number two, the most important thing that they are looking at is not a perfect story. To write a fantastic story in 20 minutes is an impossibility. Nobody can write it. ये दिमाग में बैठा लो, ठीक है ना? समझ लो, डरो मत. They are mature people. They know. You cannot come up with a story which has a fantastic conflict and a fantastic ending, and which can be made into a fantastic 20-minute film. So if everything is fantastic, why are you going to a film school? Isn't it? Why do you need to go to a film school? Well, start making film on your own, of your own, isn't it? So they're not looking at perfection. What they're looking at definitely is तुम्हारा जो भी तुम लिख रहे हो उसमें वो विजुअल, तुम्हारा विजुअल थिंकिंग, क्योंकि तुम फिल्म मेकर हो ना, फिल्म मेकर बनना चाहते हो, ठीक है ना? वो तुम्हारा विजुअल थिंकिंग डेवलप करो. ओके, डोंट रिलाई ऑन डायलॉग्स फॉर द प्रोग्रेशन ऑफ योर प्लॉट. ओके, जितना लेस डायलॉग्स हो, जितना ज्यादा विजुअल्स हो, बैक स्टोरीज पे उतना ज्यादा ध्यान मत दो, ठीक है? लास्ट नाइट क्या हुआ था या 2 साल पहले क्या हुआ था, वो सब इंफॉर्मेशन मत डालो. अभी इमीडिएसी ऑफ द प्लॉट, अभी हमारे आंखों के सामने क्या दिखाई दे रहा है, दैट इज द मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट थिंग इन फिल्म.
Got it. And
okay, bolo.
And sir, like, sorry, I asked.
Yeah.
But the second thing I wanted to know, really wanted to know is, like, should we kind of practice writing in like small handwriting so that it kind of fits? We can fit in more words at the time of the exam.
If you can do that, that is very good.
Okay, like that is good.
Yeah, of course. The more you write, the more efficient you become. ठीक है ना? तुम्हारा FTI का एग्जाम कब होगा, बोलो मुझे, कब होगा?
I think 18, मतलब around like the 2nd, 3rd week of December.
So you got roughly, I think, 2 months in hand, and approximately 2 months in hand. Yeah. So you actually have to prepare. You have to work hard. You have to read up a lot about general knowledge and cultural affairs. Definitely Indian cultural affairs, different dance forms and movements, and literary movements, literary figures, वगैरह are related to art and culture. Also general knowledge. Okay, and also visual stuff, kind of, and these most of the questions will be like objective questions. Okay, as far as I kind of I had passed out almost, it's been 30 years now. Okay, so most of the questions are objective questions, and there are some questions like this. You write a story, write a story for a kind of within 800 words and all. And of course, as I just told you, they're not looking at perfection, because you're not a perfect guy. None of us are perfect. Even I also cannot, will not be able to come up with a very good story in 20 minutes. It's impossible.
Right.
Okay, but what they're looking at, and तुम अगर practice कर सकते हो, रोज थोड़ा बहुत लिखो. You don't have to write a complete story. Okay, set a target. I've got 20 minutes. Let me write something around this. So you think up a prompt. You can. I'll tell you. तुम अगर Google करोगे ना, Google में just write this. I'll type writing, PROMPTS, writing prompts.
Writing prompts.
हजारों writing prompts मिल जाएंगे. ये नहीं बोलना कि वही writing prompts एग्जाम में आएंगे, नहीं आएंगे, लेकिन तुम्हारा एक प्रैक्टिस बनेगा, एक हैबिट बन जाएगा. ठीक है ना? वो तुम सिलेक्ट करो, तुम कौन सा राइटिंग प्रॉम्प्ट के ऊपर लिखना चाहते हो, तुम्हारे ऊपर है. It's just for practice, nothing else.
Got it, sir.
Okay. Anything else?
Sir, एक और पूछ लूं.
हाँ बोलो. हाँ.
Sir, yesterday you said like don't use too flowery a language.
Exactly.
So I wanted to understand the purport of it, like in like more precisely, like like should it not come off as this person is trying to sound flowery, or do we, if let's say somebody has a flowery language, do we need to tone it down?
देखो, people usually naturally they don't, even तुम अगर literature भी पढ़ोगे ना, if you read Ernest Hemingway, ठीक है ना, हाँ, तुम Ernest Hemingway का अंग्रेजी अगर देखोगे, he's a Nobel Prize winner, was one of the greatest writers we've had. उसका language देखो, बहुत ही simple language है, he doesn't use flowery language. Okay ना, all the greatest writers, तुम Kafka पढ़ो, Dostoevsky पढ़ो, very very simple language they are using, and they've practiced that. To arrive at a simplicity of a language, it doesn't come naturally. It has to be practiced. Anything needs to be practiced. Number one. Okay. और तुम flowery language use करके बहुत लोग होते हैं, poetic language, and kind of when he looked at the sky, it reminded him of his childhood, blah blah. Then goes into imaginations and flowery language. And in fact, don't try to impress the examiner. What is a visual story? What is a film story? Film story is nothing, it's not literature. After you have made the film, your script has no value. It might have sentimental value for you because you've struggled to write the stuff, but the film, after the film has been made, it's junk. Okay, it's like कैसा है, देखो, you own a piece of land, तुम एक मकान बनाना चाहते हो, बंगला बनाना चाहते हो, ठीक है ना, तो बंगला तो फटाक से नहीं बना पाओगे ना, तो उसके लिए एक डिजाइन चाहिए, blueprint चाहिए. You will hire an engineer or an architect, okay, and you will tell him, भैया, this is my vision, ऐसा. तो वो जो architect है वो plan बनाएगा, blueprint बनाएगा. Then you hire a contractor. The contractor will look at your blueprint and you'll hire laborers and you'll make the makan. Okay, after the bungalow is built, that blueprint has no value. It does not have any artistic value, isn't it? It might have value for as a document for municipality and corporation. वो अलग बात है, you have to maintain that. Okay, but it has no artistic value. You cannot hang it from your wall, ना. You hang M.F. हुसैन का picture या कोई बड़े कलाकार का picture तुम hang करोगे. तुम अपना मकान का blueprint नहीं hang करोगे.
Right.
है ना? तुम्हारा मकान बन चुका. Okay, it has no artistic value. Similarly, a film story that you guys are writing or a script that you'll be writing in the future, okay, it has no literary value. Don't treat it as a literature. It might be of interest to future students. वो अलग, आज के तारीख में हम लोग बड़े-बड़े फिल्म मेकर्स जो 50 साल पहले फिल्म बनाते हैं, उनका स्क्रिप्ट हम लोग पढ़ते हैं. क्यों पढ़ते हैं? Just to understand कि how he has written the script and how the film differs from the script that he had written initially, for academic reasons, not for artistic reasons.
Got it. It's like for study only.
So naturally it has to be, if you're drawing a blueprint for a bungalow that you're going to build, it cannot be like an abstract painting and a fanciful something, right? It has to be absolutely to the point.
Got it, sir.
So your writing also has to be to the point.
Got it. Thank you, sir.
Okay, any other questions?
No, sir.
No questions? Shall we call it a day? If there's nobody else. क्या है कि impress करने का कोशिश मत करो. देखो, किसी ने लिखा था, I don't know who was that, he was reading out कि analyzing, a film made by Satyajit Ray called Nayak and a Fellini film called 8.5. Both the films deal with filmmakers. Okay, now that is something which the examiner will not like. Examiner will not, अरे बंदा मुझे impress करने का कोशिश कर रहा है, वो मुझे दिखाना चाहता है, वो बहुत फिल्म बफ है, बहुत फिल्म देखता है, वर्ल्ड सिनेमा देखता है, फेलिनी देखता है. Never try to impress the guys. Tell you very frankly, we have seen life. You cannot fool us. I'm not an examiner. You cannot fool us. We can see through you. So those guys who are your examiners, they might have their whatever prejudice or whatever. Nobody is perfect. You cannot fool anybody.
But sir,
just
asking, like this is on the periphery. Like, do the FTI people who are there to select people, sitting there, do they expect you to be how much exposure do they expect from you? Like how much do they want a candidate to be exposed to like the whole world cinema and stuff like
No,
that?
absolutely not. Absolutely not. ये गलत फहमी है लोगों का. So I'll tell you very frankly and very clearly. Okay, when we entered FTI long back, ठीक है ना? I come from Calcutta. Before I entered FTI, I was a member of a film society, and me and my friends. Okay, and we were like neck deep in world cinema. We had already seen Godard, Fellini, blah blah blah, the entire work stuff. We were ready with reading heavy duty books and all. ठीक है, we thought कि FTI लोग जाना चाहते हैं तो must very very knowledgeable about world cinema and semiotics and this and that, blah blah, that type books. Okay, वहाँ पे जाके पता चला कि they are not interested in your film knowledge, because if you are coming from a city like Calcutta or Delhi, Bangalore, Bombay, or even Hyderabad and all, you're you're living in an ambience and atmosphere where there's an exposure to world cinema and theaters and all, international film clubs and all. Okay, but the vast majority of the students who apply for FTI, they are not from the metropolitan cities. Now they are from small towns and obscure villages. इसका नाम ही नहीं सुना होता. And वहाँ पे उन लोग का upbringing is very very kind of down to earth and very very kind of rooted upbringing. Okay, a lot of those guys, उनको अंग्रेजी बोलना नहीं आता है. मैंने जो देखा कि उन्हीं लोगों को चांस मिलता है ज्यादा. समझ गए ना, उन्हीं लोगों को चांस मिलता है क्योंकि सरकार का ये एक पॉलिसी है, रह चुका है कि जितने नेशनल इंस्टीट्यूट्स है ना, NID बोलो, NSD बोलो, FTI बोलो, SRFTI, उनको मौका दो जिनको अपॉर्चुनिटीज नहीं है. that is what I understood. उनको मौका दिया जाए जिनको एक्सपोजर नहीं है, जिनका अपॉर्चुनिटीज नहीं है, जो इंडस्ट्री में अगर काम करना चाहता है तो कॉन्टैक्ट्स नहीं है काइंड ऑफ. लेकिन इसका मतलब नहीं है कि मैं चैरिटी खोल के बैठा. नो, मैं चैरिटी नहीं कर रहा हूँ. मुझे उनको मौका देने से पहले मुझे ये जानकारी जरूरत है कि ये इसका विजुअल कैपेबिलिटीज है ना, थोड़ा बहुत तो नॉलेज है ना अबाउट इंडियन कल्चर एंड कुचिपुड़ी डांस कौन सा स्टेट का है और भारतनाट्यम कौन सा स्टेट का है. रविशंकर इज अ स्टारिस्ट, इज नॉट अ टेबल टेनिस प्लेयर. ये बेसिक नॉलेज तो है ना. तो ये जनरल नॉलेज related to culture, basic intelligence, that is what they see. Visual thinking है या नहीं, imagination है कि नहीं. Okay, they are not interested by your knowledge of world cinema and Godard and Truffaut and Kafka.
Yeah, understood. I was thinking, because I have been reading stuff. I kind of downloaded a few books here and there, film theory and stuff. And I was reading, I was like, ये सब मुझे पहले से ही पता होना चाहिए कि नहीं.
नहीं, absolutely not. Absolutely. तुम अगर पढ़ना चाहते हो तो पढ़ो, nobody stopping.
Okay.
ठीक है ना?
But it won't go against you, neither would it be for you.
It might go against you. तुम अगर उछालोगे ना, ज़्यादा उछालोगे, if you're trying to impress those guys, you have read this book and you have seen that film and you've analyzed this and you've analyzed, it will go against you. I'm telling you definitely.
Okay, so basically what they are essentially looking at is your creative capabilities.
Potential. Creative potential.
That's a great word. Yeah, understood. So it does not harm you. Because last year there was a question, not last year, some year there was a question like, talk about any one film theorist you know about.
ठीक है, अगर तुम्हें पता है तो लिखो, अगर पता नहीं है, 90% of the students who will get in ultimately will not know this question, will not know the answer.
अच्छा, that way. Got it.
I'm telling you. किसको पता होगा? है ना?
I started reading about it.
ना पढ़ो. You kind of keep on updating yourself, upgrading yourself. वो करो, nobody stopping you. But ये मत सोचो कि अगर ये knowledge हमारा नहीं है तो मुझे मौका नहीं मिलेगा. ऐसा नहीं है.
Got it. Understood. So it's not treated as a handicap.
No, it's not treated as a handicap. Neither is treated as a kind of
superior thing.
Superior.
Okay.
Because I have seen a lot of students who are actually very well informed about world cinema. They didn't get in.
So essentially, what they are looking at is your creative potential.
Exactly, creative potential.
Okay.
And of course, knowledge तो रहना जरूरी है. Knowledge मतलब not पंडित. अगर तुम पंडित हो तो क्यों जा रहे हो फिल्म? बनाओ ना अपना फिल्म, बनाओ अपना. ठीक है ना? तो वो पंडितरी मत दिखाओ. लेकिन वो enthusiasm, they want to see the enthusiasm, the passion. Okay, that is very important. Okay, and तुम्हारा passion है and about cinema, तुम कुछ करना चाहते हो and kind of बनाना चाहते हो और you have knowledge about Indian cultural affairs and you know, art and culture and paintings and all, folk paints, folk tales, folk culture, modern culture, films also. Films मतलब अभी तो देखो अभी thanks to OTT platforms and torrent and you know the world has opened up.
Yeah.
Especially in the last 4-5 years.
Yes.
Today everything is available. Everything is. तो वो exposure भी रहना जरूरी है. बोलेंगे अरे तुम फिल्म पढ़ना चाहते हो तो नेटफ्लिक्स नहीं है, नेटफ्लिक्स नहीं देखा, तुम अमेज़न प्राइम नहीं देखते हो, मूवी नहीं देखते हो, कोई इंटरेस्टिंग लगा तुम्हें, कोई डायरेक्टर जिसका फिल्म तुम्हें इंटरेस्टिंग लगा, अगर तुम्हें इंटरेस्ट लगा तब बोलो तो ठीक है ना. डोंट फ्रॉन्ट मत करो. इट विल नॉट गो अगेंस्ट यू जस्ट बिकॉज़ यू आर एक्सपोज्ड टू वर्ल्ड. इट विल नेवर गो अगेंस्ट यू, बट इट्स आल्सो नॉट गोइंग टू हेल्प यू.
Got it. Understood. Thank you so much, sir.
Okay. और कुछ? Okay, chalo, I don't think anybody else is left. Okay, and it's almost 8 o'clock. Okay, so we'll hopefully we'll meet next Friday and Saturday instead of Wednesday and Thursday. Okay, with me. Okay, so बस वही है. लेकिन keep your keep your eyes open, ears open, read a lot, watch a lot of films, general knowledge बढ़ाओ. वो तो करो, practice करो, look up question papers from previous years, देखो क्या क्या, what is the trend, art movements, and they might ask you what is surrealism, what is, so a little bit of, you know, you must know what is surrealism, what is expressionism. Okay, who is Salvador Dali, who is kind of Picasso, you know, what kind of paintings Picasso is famous for. ऐसा knowledge रहना है तो अच्छा है, मतलब questions आते हैं.
Sir,
Okay.
just one thing, branching out from what you just said, like when they, I don't remember, is that a 5 marker or a 10 marker? These questions which are more thematic, like film centric, like last year it was about like the position. I don't exactly remember the precise words, like women in films, like the feminine perspective of film, something like that. So like, how much are you supposed to write in it?
How much you're supposed to write in this is depend on number of pages you allowed.
Like by how much, I mean, like as the person answering the question.
नहीं, ठीक है, depends on your the density of knowledge. If the density of knowledge तुम्हारा है ज़्यादा तो लिखो तो no problem. लेकिन don't be very esoteric or don't write it in a very difficult language. Examiner को ही समझ में नहीं आया, ऐसा ना हो. मतलब एकदम तो don't write it like a research student. देखो फेमिनिज्म के बारे में हो या हमारा मी टू मूवमेंट हुआ था 2-3 साल पहले, उसके बारे में भी तुम्हारा क्वेश्चन आ सकता है. तो मी टू के बारे में सबको पता है ना, सबका टेक भी है मी टू के बारे में. लिखो. अगर तुम बोलोगे सर मी टू क्या है मुझे पता नहीं, देन यू आर आउट. अरे मी टू क्या तुम्हें पता नहीं, तुम जिंदा हो या मुर्दा हो यार.
So basically they want our opinion.
Exactly, they want an opinion,
not like that whole rataya.
No, absolutely.
Got it.
But keep on updating yourself. ऐसा नहीं बोल रहा हूँ कि पढ़ो मत, जानना जरूरी है, सब कुछ जानना जरूरी है. अगर तुम फिल्म, if you're reading books on films, continue to read books on films.
Yeah, मैं basically सर ये मैंने इसलिए पूछा, मेरे को ना ये समझ नहीं आ रहा था कि do I kind of start making notes on every theorist or I just read them and understand them? है ना, just read them.
बस.
That's enough basically.
Yeah.
समझना चाह रहा था कि वहाँ पे मेरे को ऐसे सोचना कि 10 मार्क्स का क्वेश्चन है, 5 पॉइंट पे लिखना है, इसके हर किसी के 5 पॉइंट
आता है, ऐसा क्वेश्चन आता है. अगर लेकिन जानकारी नहीं है, अगर जानकारी है तो लिखो, ठीक है. because there will be choices also, ना, there will be choices also. Okay, और जानकारी नहीं है तो मत लिखो, attempt some other question.
Understood.
Okay,
sir. सर जैसे ये फिल्म थ्योरिस्ट वाला क्वेश्चन पूछा गया था,
हाँ हाँ
तो इसमें आजकल जैसे कई सारे यूट्यूब चैनल्स हैं जो कि एसेज डालते रहते हैं, कंपैरिजन एनालिसिस, और काफी सारी थ्योरी के ऊपर डिस्कस करते हैं फिल्म्स की, तो उनको भी कंसिडर कर सकते हैं क्या फिल्म थ्योरिस्ट के फॉर्म में?
नहीं, उनको तुम फिल्म, दे आर नॉट फिल्म थियरिस्ट्स, दे आर लाइक, मतलब जस्ट बिकॉज समबडी सेट्स अप अ यूट्यूब चैनल एंड कुछ भी बोलता है, सही बोलता होगा या सही बात बोलता होगा, डज नॉट मेक हिम अ फिल्म थियरिस्ट, isn't it? So film theorists हैं, आंद्रे भाजा है, बहुत है, okay, जो who are very important and seminal film theorists.
जैसे कोई कंटेम्प्रेरी में होगा अभी जिसको हम
बोलो कंटेम्प्रेरी फिल्म थियरिस्ट कौन है, बोलो कौन है? फिल्म राइटर्स हैं, देयर आर वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट राइटर्स इन इंडिया, ओके, एक है भरतराजन बैंगलोर में, बट यू कैन नॉट कॉल हिम अ फिल्म थियोरिटिशियन, ही इज अ राइटर, he writes well. So if you want to read him up, you can read him up. It definitely develops your kind of this approach towards, refines your approach towards film viewing and understanding of cinema. He's a good writer. Okay, and there are kind of a little kind of this critic called. There are good film critics also. Film criticism पर जैसा कि
राजीव मसंद,
राजीव मसंद, या इट्स ओके यार, राजीव मसंद ठीक है यार, पढ़ना है तो पढ़ लो, लेकिन इज नॉट सो इम्पोर्टेंट.
So this, can you tell us a resource where we can like kind of find collateral, like film criticism के लिए कोई specific resource हो जहाँ पे जाके you can actually?
ऐसा कोई स्पेसिफिक वेबसाइट या स्पेसिफिक बुक तो नहीं है, बट ठीक है, आई रिमेंबर योर क्वेश्चन. इफ देयर इज एनी पर्टिकुलर सोर्स जहाँ पे देखो, देयर आर सर्टेन वेबसाइट्स व्हिच यू कैन, आई मीन, hunt. एक है क्या, persistence of cinema, I think. Persistence.
yes sir, it's an Instagram page also.
हाँ, तो ऐसा कुछ वेबसाइट्स है, वो एक्सप्लोर करने से ही तुम्हें पता चल जाएगा, ठीक है ना. देन देयर इज अ वेरी फेमस अमेरिकन फिल्म क्रिटिक हु डाइड a couple of years ago of cancer, called Roger Ebert. उसका फिल्म क्रिटिसिज्म है, रॉजर एबर्ट. He has got the Pulitzer Prize also for film criticism. He has been writing film criticism for almost 50 years. Okay, उसके बुक्स भी मिलता है, बुक्स आर वेरी एक्सपेंसिव, लेकिन ऑनलाइन में तुम कोई भी फिल्म देखोगे ना, देन यू क्लिक गूगल, 1000 लिंक्स मिलते हैं, एक तो लिंक जरूर मिलेगा रॉजर एबर्ट का रिव्यूज मिलेगा तुम्हें. रॉजर एबर्ट मर जाने के बाद इट्स ऑलमोस्ट लाइक अ फ्रेंचाइजी, यू नो. देयर आर अदर यंगर फिल्म क्रिटिक्स, okay, who write under the banner, under the brand name of Roger Ebert. So read those Roger Ebert का website जो है, film criticism, बहुत ही simple language में, nothing high funda. Okay, so वो तुम explore करते करते तुम्हें मिल जाएगा, और मेरे दिमाग में कोई आएगा तो I'll let you know.
Thank you sir.
ठीक है, चलो let's call it a day, and चलो study hard, update yourself. ऐसा नहीं है कि it's not easy actually. It is actually a very, in fact, I was telling you something, first time I sat for this, I failed FTI entrance. Second year again, next year again I sat, I passed. Okay, so, and it's a 3-tier process. Written test, then they call you for orientation, something, they observe you. Okay, then there's an interview. Okay, so it's not a very easy thing. Okay, chalo then, see you guys.
Yes sir.
Okay.